All right, guys, good morning. And if you're in the UK, like my buddy Sarah here, it's good afternoon. So here we are. We're live on hopefully on Facebook, but I know for sure on the YouTube channel JPEZ Talk. So we're here to talk about whether or not creating video is going to attract clients for your tutoring business. Is it worth the time? Because it can be a fun hobby, or it can be the most draining thing and the most time-consuming thing that you ever do, right? So a lot of you guys know I tutor 6th through 12th grade ELA. So that's English, that's reading and writing, that is a lot of grammar lately. And actually, as of this month, I'll be adding a math teacher to my business. It happens to be my husband, who has been a math teacher for a while, and now he's starting a baking business and will have a bit more of a chance to teach math with me, but making his own hours. So that's a whole nother thing. But for now, I want to introduce Sarah. And Sarah, you're just going to tell everybody what you need to know, and then we're going to get on with these questions as to whether or not these videos were worth our time. So Sarah, tell everyone what you do and what we need to know about you.
Yeah, firstly, thank you for having me on here, Jessica, because it's been really great getting to know you through Instagram, chatting and all of that. So it's like so nice to meet you, because I've seen you on video, and really excited that you're adding to your team, getting a maths tutor. So I am a psychology and criminology tutor. I started off as a probation officer. That was my kind of main full-time career. I think you have similar in the US, maybe you call it parole officer, probation officer, but that was my main job. So I was working actually in the industry that I'm tutoring for. So that's where I feel that I'm kind of unique with my skill set, because I've actually worked firsthand with offenders. So everything that I'm teaching, everything that the students learn when they're at uni or at school is from the books, but I'm able to really bring that to life, which really helps them question things, develop their critical awareness, and just kind of cement the learning. So that's why kind of my slogan is learning by real life application, because I've actually been there on the job from real life. I left my job in November this year during the pandemic, because I wanted to focus full time on my business. And as a mum, I'm a mum of two. I've got two young children they're like 2 and 5, so it just wasn't manageable to do everything. As you know, tutors, there's so much more than just sitting there tutoring. So I took the plunge, and since then, I started tutoring A-level psychology, and I've just expanded what I'm tutoring based really on my passion, because I found I really enjoyed tutoring university students, helping them understand the material, help them develop that curiosity. So I now do degree, so undergraduate, we call it in the UK, so it's when you're getting maybe it's the same as college degree, and then postgraduate, so if they want to do a master's or further study. And I initially started off with one-to-one, but I've now added some courses. So I do with my formula, so it's called Master Psychology in Criminology, the Move On Up formula, because you will move on up with your grades when you work with me. So I created that formula, bringing everything together that I knew from tutoring and from my actual job, and I've brought that formula into a course format. So I do Master Psychology in Criminology, the essay skills course, and I also do the pre-probation program, because what I found, again, I tend to just at the moment of the business follow my passion of what I'm really excited about. So I've now started coaching students they've finished their degree, or people that want a career change and are looking to go into the probation service as a job. So it kind of got two elements to my tutoring business. I'm also an author. I haven't got a copy of my book here, but you can see I have it on my wall there. So I wrote my first book, Success on Probation, a step-by-step system to reform your life and release yourself from your mental jail. And it's a book that I wrote based on everything that I was doing to help when I was working with people who committed crimes, helping them turn their life around, motivate them. And from my own experience of how I motivated myself through all my life's experiences. And it's just bringing it to everyday people, especially mums, because I'm a mum myself, so I'm coming from experience, and helping you set goals, motivate yourself, and just take a step back. And that's why I call it release yourself from your mental jail, because often we are the ones that put ourselves in the jail and say, no, I can't do this, I can't do that. We put those expectations and fears on ourselves. So it's about unlocking that. So
Wow.
it's me.
You've gotten a lot accomplished in really, I would say, a short amount of time as far as the tutoring business, because you had the job first, the one you were used to, that probation officer, so that the real world experience is really valuable. Because I remember having professors in college who, some of them had actually worked, and they had a different perspective than people who had only taught and maybe not tried other things. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's pretty neat to have said, I've done this, so now I know what you should do, not just what you have to do in theory. So, and later when I upload the live, I can add your a link to your book and some other things, and you'll be able to share this video too, so that people have a more like a show interview of you instead of just videos. So what we're trying to do, I think, is let more people know what we do, because probably when you're a probation officer, I imagine you didn't have to find people. They assign people to you.
It was literally the opposite. You were overwhelmed with people.
Yeah, it was like that in the classroom. So, I was a former classroom teacher, and it was constantly just a revolving door of students, and you never choose them ever. Now they choose us first, but we can decide whether or not it's a good fit for us to tutor certain ones. So what we did, everyone who's listening, Sarah and I decided, we've both established a YouTube channel. And besides just being creative with it, we wanted to tell people what we do, offer our services, because they do say that if you create content, that will get the clients in, because we have a website. Maybe not everybody's searching for our specific niche, so they're going to find you by accident, or it's much better if they see you somewhere else, like on another search engine like Google and YouTube. So we started making 2 videos per week. And if you're anything like me, you shoot a bunch of footage and then you have too much to edit down. So was making these videos worth your time?
Overall, 100%, definitely worth my time, because before I'd done this challenge, like I said, I had an established YouTube channel. I wouldn't really say established, that's very generous, but it was there, and I was posting as and when I kind of felt like it, as and when I had an idea, as and when I had time. But when you mentioned the challenge, straight away I was like, yeah, I need this accountability, so I can stick to something, 2 videos a week. So I was like, okay, I'll do it on I think a Monday and a Thursday. I know that they're kind of 2 days that I can have enough time to upload. But it was so worthwhile, because even though I didn't necessarily meet the goal, it made me see this as a real aspect of my business, and I planned it into my week rather than it just being an afterthought. And what really, really helped me is when we sat down together and we put together a table and a schedule, something so small that, why did I never do this before? Because it actually helps you just be like, okay, well, I know what I'm doing now. It stops any of that procrastination, thinking, oh, I don't know, what should I film today? What should I do? It's like, no, all I needed to do was look at my timetable. Right, I'm filming that today. Great. So that really helped. And yeah, like you said, the filming the content is kind of the easy part. It's the editing it. So is it worth your time? I would still say yes, because of the end result, but it does take a long time to edit videos. I'm a newbie with editing videos. At the beginning, my partner was editing them for me, but then I started editing them myself. But I think in the end, I was making 11-minute videos, and it would take me about 2 hours to edit them. And that's not even with major fancy edits. But what I will say is, even though it took me 2 hours, I kind of, as I was filming it, I kind of knew that's going to be about 11-12 minutes. So I kind of got into the rhythm of knowing how long to speak for, that it will be 11 minutes. And I didn't really need to stop, pause, change things, because I knew, well, I can just edit out any long pauses or any extra things that I say. And I wasn't too perfectionist about myself. I was like, well, I'll leave that bit in because I don't want to spend ages editing it.
Yeah.
So that's maybe a good thing. But yeah, it was definitely trying to edit that is the hardest part, I felt like. And yeah, planning it really helped. So even as I would do the video, I'd have the video title, and I would kind of do like a bullet points on my bit of paper, and I'd be like, okay, well, I've got 3 main points, and that helped me stick to kind of a small time frame of like 11-12 minutes, because I knew I didn't want to go over, because I would have to edit it all down.
Yes. The editing takes a long time, and even when you've mastered, or I don't know if I'd say I've mastered it, because there's always another feature out there, and then as soon you outgrow one program you use, you might use another one. But yeah, so it does help to make those bullet points. But I remember when we presented the list of ideas, and one of them being stop calling yourself average. That was something that I was like, I feel strongly about people who talk down on themselves, or who think that they can only get to here instead of here. I'm like, that's something that I think parents and students need to hear me say. Like, they need to know that I think that, otherwise they may, it might be between me and another tutor who might not think about those things. So, and I liked how you really were taking it seriously. I'm like, oh wow, she really does want to do this, because most people are like, hey, I want to, but I'm just unable to get it all done. So what was the other one? Oh, I said, yes, we'll do the 2 days a week. I also struggled to do 2 a week perfectly. I think I had like the first 3 done. And so it helped to know ahead of time, like, okay, here's this one thing. It is almost easier to sit down and talk about something that an aspect of your, tutoring, teaching business that you're passionate about. But then I also want to get more creative with it and do other things. Like, let me take this shot over here. Let me go outside with my phone and film this one other thing and piece it together like a puzzle. Cause I'm like, well, I got to make it good. But then it's like, well, some of these videos get a lot more views than others. So it can be a letdown when you've made a video that you personally like better, and it gets like a total of 20 to 40 views, and you're like, well, that's like lower than I want it to be. Like, so I'd say it's worth your time to kind of mess around with different styles and to get going. And I'd say, like, for you, I'm thinking, what is it that she tutors? Because I've never met like tutor for like criminology and probation officer. I think I've met one probation officer my entire life. So I think that's really helpful for kids to know what to do, because I say kids, they might be young adults and maybe even older than that. So what about the results? I want to hear what type of results you got, whether it was comments, views, or most importantly, clients who found you and said, I want her to help me.
So, like, I'm just looking at my computer here because I've got them all up. I'm trying to think. So I actually changed some of the schedule because my videos were doing so well, the probation officer one. So I think on some of the videos, let me have a look here, what ones I done. So let's think, 1 month ago. All right. So did we start with stop calling yourself average? I think that might have been, yeah, that was the first one, stop calling yourself average. And then it was mindset shifts from sixth form to uni. Then it was uni to real life, mindset shifts. Then I done an essay planning one. Then things that help me stress less. Then I done a probation officer one, and all of the ones before had like 40 odd views, which for me is really good. And then when I done that probation officer one, I had 147 views. So I was like, okay. And then my old probation officer views, I got my first 1K view on that one. So I thought, you know what? People are commenting on that. They're commenting, they're asking questions. I had DMs in my Instagram saying, I've seen your YouTube channel. They're really helpful. I'm so glad I found you. I've got my assessment next week. So I was kind of just shifted and was like, okay, I might have had this plan, but I'm getting a lot of response from the probation officer staff. People want this. So I'm going to kind of go with that one. So I ended up making some there. So again, I done one about dissertation that got 25 views. And then again, I've done a probation officer one. It's got 424 views, which is like, for me on YouTube, it's like, wow, like I've never had those numbers before. So it just shows that you may have a plan, but you've kind of got to be adaptable and flexible. If you're getting good response, kind of go with that good response video.
Yeah, you have to do that because you don't have to, we want to stick to the plan sometimes because when you're a teacher, you think, well, we have to do this, but actually it doesn't really make a lot of sense to spend a lot of time doing something that people don't need or want. And so like I started out with the day in the life of an online tutor. And I think some of that stuff, tutors like it more than let's say
Mm.
potential parents. But that one, sometimes the first few views get more like the first video of the month or the first video in a series will get more. But
Mm.
it's funny that really these videos were good for me to experiment with, but the better videos were I've made content on this homeschooling curriculum that I've used. And actually, someone reached out today about that. And I'm like, you better keep making more videos about that because even though I'd probably rather like I've got one I want to make about traveling or teaching while you're outside the house or like if you're visiting family or if you're on vacation, you want to do a few hours during that vacation. Well, maybe, but it seems like people have questions about that the homeschooling content. And the more I use that stuff, the better advice I have to give. And I'm like, I didn't know that there was a lot out there. And I've talked before with some of our other tutor friends, like on Clubhouse, about how, so actually, when I made one video, I had a feeling like I think a lot of people will at least watch this because there were only maybe 2 or 3 videos about that stuff on YouTube. And as you know, YouTube is really saturated with a whole lot of the same lifestyle content, makeup, car, video game, all these topics, I guess. So I'm like, how can people find me? Well, they might find me through the Michael Clay Thompson homeschooling curriculum. And then maybe I do want to make sure I have some other videos there so they can see basically the way I talk, this is what my teaching style is going to look like, a lot of it. And so if parents need to go ahead and know, what are they going to be like when they're with my child, because otherwise simply talking over the phone or meeting over Zoom one time, that's not as good as doing that plus watching videos, so it's like, yes, you're right, you do have to shift, and that is important too for other people who want to make videos. Like, you may have all these ideas in mind, and then you do have to go in and look at those analytics and see what are people watching. And now if you're just making things for Instagram, that's a whole nother thing too, but it's great that they reach out to you through Instagram because of YouTube. That's really neat.
Yeah. And did you have that as well then? So somebody reached out to you, like how did they contact you? What did they say about your video?
So I've gotten messages through my website just from the homeschooling curriculum. Those have seemed to be like the better videos for me. It's kind of like my viewership did not increase during our vlog challenge, but I've noticed that I've gotten more hits on some of the older videos.
Yeah.
So I don't know if what I'm doing has helped or not exactly. But also more tutors have seen what I'm doing. And like, it's like the tutors like it, which is good because I do want to help tutors make videos. That's like another, kind of like you, like that's another aspect to the business. I've created a course with Joanne and we helped tutors. And I'm like, I want to keep doing this, but it'll be a little bit less work from the second round because now I've kind of seen what people need. They're like, how do I edit? And what do I say? I'm like, listen, I have ideas. You just have to decide what is the time. Like, I'm pretty good at thinking of ideas, but at a certain point you have to decide, okay, here's what people want, so how can you make that one most fun and most informative for people?
Yeah, definitely. And like I found like with the length of time as well, so like the length of the videos, I feel like that 11-12 minute is working well for me, because I've had some older videos that I started at the beginning that were just really long, and I know like that affects your analytics as well and things like that. And just knowing, like you said, looking at your analytics really helps. Like, I think because I've only just reached 100 subscribers, I've only now been able to see analytics. But that is really useful for any other tutors that are kind of starting out on YouTube, is to actually definitely look at, because it enabled me to see what people were searching. I think something about the probation officer, they found me through Google. So, you might think, again, like with your homeschool one, it's quite niche, it's quite specific. So if there's no other videos, you're going to be coming up first. So without doing all that fancy SEO attached to your website, just by doing a video that's quite niche, you're going to get top hits on Google. So
Yeah,
definitely a good
the
tip.
niche stuff really does work. It's just like I still am amazed by these people who've been doing videos for a long time who I'm like, well, sometimes you might think, well, I think I liked, my video editing style. What is it about them? But some people just their videos get recommended, they get watched, whether they're talking about really helpful topics or not. They just do. So what I want to know about highs and lows of this process, okay? Because we've probably touched on it a little bit, but what were like maybe pick one. Like what was the best result you got? And then what is like the most difficult, frustrating thing that happened, like technical difficulties or you got upset one day is normal stuff.
Yeah, so I would say definitely the best result is just having people message me to say how much it helped them. Because yeah, that is amazing. I've had a few people book in for like free consultations. So knowing that it's reaching the right people and helping the right people, it's just a really good feeling. The lows are definitely thinking, how am I going to get this done? Like it's eating into my weekends. And because, so at the moment I'm editing it on my phone. And I'm like,
oh my goodness, I didn't realize you were doing that. That's way harder. I've tried it once and it
I'm
was
like, and the thing
horrible.
is, I've got a program on my partner's other laptop, but I just haven't sat down and done it. So it's like, why am I doing that? So yeah, definitely, but then the good thing with having it on my phone is like I sat in the garden the other day and just edited it on my phone. So it kind of outweighs. But yeah, definitely kind of putting that pressure on myself and eating into the weekend and thinking, no, I need to get this video up. But when I didn't get it up, it wasn't the end of the world.
Yeah.
Life happens. I've got my tutoring, I've got kids. Like life does happen, but I know deep down I'm carrying it on. So it's not like a massive failure. But that is the reality of when you're starting your business, it will eat into your weekends. But I'm trying to be so strict with myself that I get things done in the week. But you just find you don't have enough time. I don't know if you feel like that. So you just got to like really know how to manage your time. Like even today, like I put, right, let me just do 3 things, go back to basics, what I tell my students, 3 things on your to-do list, and just if you can get them 3 things done in the day, then you've done something.
Yes, and then I'm always, I guess just yesterday, my husband was like, "You're so hard on yourself about these little things," because I was like, yesterday I wasn't feeling very. I was actually pretty productive, but I was just like, I'm not really proud of myself today. I don't feel like I've done enough. Like there's some things that I should have done a while back, and I just haven't gotten it done. Like just silly stuff. But then I have to say, like, let's remember that one of the major things of the past year, I've had the YouTube channel for a year, and at first I thought, oh, this could be like a side income. It's gonna I can have AdSense and all that. But really, when people are finding your services because of YouTube and they're your paying clients and you're helping them, that is also, it's like I've monetized the channel unofficially, which is really neat because I'm like, I have to look at that and say that's a major success. Even there were previous post I had where I saw like how many followers I had, and I'm like, oh wow, it's grown. And I take it for granted, like what this can do. Like people from all over can see this, and I sometimes think, well, if I don't get 21,000 views in a day, then I'm not good.
It's definitely that comparison. Like I'm always like comparing, thinking, oh, because obviously I watch YouTube in my free time as well, and it's like, oh, how did they get like so many thousand views and so many thousand followers? But you kind of got to remember how I remember it is like, imagine talking to like 74 people in a room, like that is like a major big deal. But I think when we see, because the numbers are so visible online, you can see what everyone else's numbers are, but the numbers doesn't necessarily equate to like money. It's not like I'm getting like 74,000 for that one video. So it's definitely putting it into perspective where we are. We're at the beginning of our like YouTube journey, our YouTube stage. We're managing a business as well. So I always think, well, we're trying, we're putting ourselves out there, we're showing up. And it's all about, like, did you read The Compound Effect?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right. If you're not making any type of effort at all. You're just pretty much staying in the exact same place. And that's how I felt about the tutoring business. I'm like, well, I could spend a little money and upgrade some things and put myself out there, or I could just kind of do this almost as a side gig, which is really what it was looking like. And now I'm like, oh, look, I can see the results. And now I'm like, okay, but I am impatient. I want to have more and keep going. But really, I think this is an appropriate pace, just the pace that I'm going for me anyway.
Yeah, definitely. And like you just mentioned about like upgrading stuff, like I've upgraded my tech. I don't know if it was maybe just before we done the video or as we were doing it, but like I got myself like a microphone. I haven't upgraded my phone, but storage, that's one thing that's got on my nerves. Talking about the lows, I would be filming a video and then it would just stop. They'd be like, oh, I need to like delete some other videos. And they'd be like, well, I haven't edited them yet, so I can't delete those ones. So I ended up, I brought a storage for my laptop and I've upgraded my iCloud storage, but even that's not enough. So storage.
Yeah, I finally was full. And when I got this computer, it was just really for the tutoring business, and it has the built-in, this was the MacBook Air, and I was like, oh, it has iMovie, and that's a whole nother story, but that's how I started using it again and editing, and I'm like, this is for free, it came with my laptop. But then after a year, it finally started slowing down, and so I had to get an external hard drive, which you have to learn how to use that too. And my phone can store videos, but do you hear my dog?
Yeah.
I would airdrop them to the computer, and then I edited a couple of videos for 2 other tutoring friends, and one of the videos was like an hour long, and I was like, Max, I'm sorry, I can't edit this whole video because the playback wasn't working right. So those are things that when you're really serious about consistently making videos, you do have to educate yourself. You watch other YouTube videos about what's the best storage for me? Like or oh my goodness, what type of lighting, or should I get a camera? Because eventually using this is annoying because I got to kind of fiddle with it.
Yeah.
And having a separate camera, well, that's a whole nother device, but maybe that would be better. So I'm like,
yeah, I'm kind of thinking that as well. I'm kind of at that stage where I'm like, the phone is good, it's good quality and everything for like Instagram videos, reels, all of that. But you really need just that separate device if you're going to be like doing videos. Like even today, like I couldn't find my stand, things like that. It just, those little annoyances. We're like, well, if I had everything just for the videos, it would be there. It would make life easier.
Yeah, I mean, when I edited some in college, you had all these other kids around you who, other geeks, I guess, who knew how to do stuff. You could ask them for help, and now it's just me and the internet, and I have to look it all up.
That is true. Yeah, I remember trying to set up my microphone. I even went on YouTube to figure out how to set it up, and even then, it was like went over my head. So that is one thing when you're a tutor, kind of just sitting here in your house on your own. You got to try and just figure it out. There's no like IT guy that you can call, like when you're at work. It's like, we'll just call the IT guy to come and sort it out. Like there's none of that. You just got to figure it out.
Yeah, and then you have that knowledge and you can pass it on. You get, how you get excited about something like when I was helping the other tutors, like with editing, I noticed I'm probably talking their ear off because I remember like sitting on my couch, like yelling at my computer if something went wrong, or like when something downloads, I'm like, wait a minute, where'd it go? Hold on, I can't find it on my computer. That kind of stuff. There's a visitor in my house. I don't know who it is. So anyway, but yeah, I don't know. I think we just get excited about overcoming the frustrations, being able to show somebody what we've learned and like just how they can, make their lives better because of it.
Definitely.
So, and I'm sure we could keep going on, but do you have anything else you really want to add? Any type of either questions, comments, jokes, anything?
I guess, yeah. So I did have some questions for you, but you've kind of spoke about that for you because so when obviously I met you, you'd done a few kind of videos. I know you'd got a background in editing. So what did you learn from this?
I learned that if I really want to stick to a schedule, I have to make it the #1 priority. Otherwise, it's going to slide by. And I also learned that it's okay to just make shorter videos. Like sometimes it's a choice between quality versus quantity. Like I'm like, well, I said I was going to get this one video out, but it might require me staying up a couple hours past, 10, 11 at night to get it done. And there's also, you have to be in the mood to do this. Like I'm not always in the mood for video. I'm passionate about it, but it's not like other hobbies like, watching Netflix or reading, where you can kind of pick up here and there and you can multitask. This is like, no, I kind of got to be plugged in, like audio and visually, like the whole time.
You got to be kind of like emotionally ready. So you've got to be like switched on, like have your A game. Obviously you've got to, do your makeup and your hair and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, well, I did my podcast, but I was just like, I think I understand video more. Maybe I'll podcast one day. But yeah, that's another thing too. Like I decided I might not always love how I look one day, but then I think, well, this is just how I look. This is just how it is. Like people don't really pay that much attention. Like fortunately, the trend is a lot of younger people will go to LA and become influencers and all that. And I'm like, that's not who you are.
Yeah.
And I probably never wanted to do that anyway when I was like in college.
I feel like people appreciate, like I always feel like people appreciate just someone who's normal, because they're so saturated with influencers and all of that kind of thing. Just someone who's just regular that people can connect with. Like we're not trying to like sell our like image and all of that. It's just literally like someone just regular.
Oh yeah, somebody relatable, but somebody who at least we want to establish ourselves as an expert or someone who knows what we're talking about, what we're not like way too brainy or too exuberant or something. Like I was thinking, should I rebrand and be like the hat tutor, like the tutor who always has a hat on, or like I've got ideas that I want other people to do. I just might not be comfortable doing like the tuxedo tutor. Someone always wears a tuxedo. Like, see, these are things that's what I can do. Help other tutors come up with something.
And talking about your course, so are the students still on your course? Is that finished now? Like, how did they go? Like, since doing your course, have they ventured into doing YouTube? Have they set up their channel, or were they halfway through?
Yeah, so with this first round of people, so because I co-produced a course, but really once it was like Joanne did a lot of the marketing for this, and she has her audience. But once they were in, it was just me leading the classes, and so we had about 15 people, and a couple people had to just watch the recording. They couldn't be there live, but we had the live element, which was 1 hour a week, and that was really valuable because people got to share what they've been working on. They would screen share and say, okay, what about this? And what about this? And everyone's pretty shy at first, like no one wants to be like, look at me, look at my video, because they wouldn't be in that course, they would be somewhere else. And I think I helped to give people ideas. I helped them learn a few little nitty gritty things that would have taken them ages to learn on their own. And I've had some people get more active on Instagram, because a lot of what we learned was camera presence. Like make sure you're not looking off screen the whole time at yourself, instead of where the lens actually is, like right here. And I am looking at you a lot on the screen, but some of that's okay. But you don't want to have a video where you're talking to parents and you're looking off like this. That was like one of the quickest things they learned. And I could see them improve, but like cutting out pauses and having the music, if you want background music, don't let it be too loud. You want your lighting to be right. And like a lot of people thought that they had to have that record through Zoom and have the background. I'm like, well, some of those backgrounds are wonky. When you move your hand around, I was like, you might want to consider something else. So,
and I quite like, I think that's part of the relatability, like just having your normal room, like this is my normal office, like, because they kind of get a glimpse into your life as well, by having your normal background. But
oh yeah, like I want more lighting back here. I try to move around. I'm like, you're not supposed to. That's another thing. You got to be careful about sitting in front of a window. So you have to kind of rearrange if you're lucky enough to have an office or a quiet space to work, I'm constantly adjusting things. Like, I don't know if I'll keep that shelf back there. The little things like, are people looking at that, or are they just listening to me, because some sit down and talk videos, you can just like, I'll listen to YouTubers as if it's a podcast sometimes.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I'm like, oh, is this something I have to look at? Because I just want to close my eyes, you know?
yeah. Same.
Yeah.
And then, oh yeah, one more thing. So what is next for you? So now we've done this challenge. We've done a whole month. Have you been carrying on with it? Have you been sticking with your 2? Have you created a schedule for this month?
So in my mind, as long as I make 1 video per week, I'm doing pretty well. So like this week, that's why live is awesome, because we get to build a relationship, and you know, some people will probably watch the recording and like they'll watch bits and pieces of it. It's not like our 11-minute video where we're like, hey, share this. So as long as I do 1 video a week, and I'll probably need to do, if I'm still happy doing that homeschooling content, clearly that's what people are searching. That's what's coming up first, and it's being recommended, like YouTube seeing it, and that's popping up, I guess, on like whoever's searching for. And so I need to probably plan out some video ideas about that stuff. And it doesn't just have to be, here's how you use it. Like it could be, today I'm going to talk about phrases and clauses, because I get a lot of comments about how parents don't know how to teach their kids this. So they're like, you know what, I'll hire a tutor for this part. And then I'll show that. And otherwise, I'll probably just make a few hobby videos as well. Like teaching, I've shot video about teaching on vacation, and I've just never really was ready to finish that video. But then
a similar one as well.
Yeah. But then on the for the tutoring business, you know, I'm adding, you know, I'm adding math, and I'm like, I wanted to come out with this big bang. Like, guess what? I'm adding math, but it's summer, so it's kind of an interesting time. Like some people now have time to actually tutor because they're out of school. A lot of people just now finished in early June. And then other people are like, no, we're taking off. So but I know around August and September, more stuff picks up. But I also want to create a video course for students, like how to use iMovie. I think that's where I'm headed, because I noticed I really like that stuff. Like instead of teaching students just how to, you know, write better, understand what they're reading, how about teaching them a skill they can use? Like if a student wants to make a project for their history class, they can make a poster, they can, whatever kids would do. But then if they have the ability, if they have iMovie or some program, I'd like to create something where they can watch videos and learn how to make videos that work, instead of just like, you know, make it a little less amateurish. But I think that would have helped me as a kid to know how to do that.
Definitely. And like, especially now, like if there's so many tutors tutoring, you know, eventually one day we may need a video editor to edit our videos. So it's nice to kind of have a network to say, oh, actually, I know this tutor personally, and I know someone personally who could edit your videos. That's what I like about our kind of network. Even though we were not on the same course, but we went through the same course, didn't we? We both went through Joanne's tutoring coaching course at different times. So we kind of met the same people online. It's just amazing how we've kind of got a network of people. So like I know what subject you specialize in, and there's some other people. So that is really nice. I guess for me, for next steps, I have already created my schedule for this month, so I just need to deliver on that schedule now. So same with you, I'm thinking once a week, and then I will be good. You know, that'll be a good limit for me.
Yeah. Some people who took the course, like the adult tutoring course, they're like, oh yeah, I want to. And some people haven't really. One girl in particular, Clara, she did really well with improving the look of her video. She wants to make math videos. And so I've been kind of checking up on them to see, you know, how is it going and all that. Like, and I haven't seen them make several videos in a row yet, but I think they've got the building blocks. So we're going to run the course. I think we're going to run the course again, because I think there is an interest for that.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. There's an interest, even like as well as YouTube videos, but like the Instagram videos, like if they're on other social media platforms as well, you know, like how I do a lot of Instagram reels, you know, that's a really good way. So I think definitely video and tutors is the way to go.
Yeah. Like the best way to start, you know, is just to go ahead and use, like, here's a Snapchat. You use Snapchat, because those are temporary videos. You can practice talking to the screen, and then you can be like, oh, I don't like that, delete it. And then you can try it again, and then you post it. And then people are just going to be happy to see you, like, oh, so-and-so's talking. Let me see. Especially at first, they'll be like, wow, I've never seen her make a video. Now she did. And then if you're consistent, your consistency is going to pay off by bringing in the clients, or at the very least, I've been recommended because I think people saw my videos, like other tutors saw, and they remembered me because I made videos versus, you know, plenty of other English tutors who maybe don't make videos. They just, you want to be remembered like in a good way. And so your videos are like an online portfolio for people.
Yeah, especially as online tutors, like that is our job online. So you kind of got to show that.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad you came. Like, I'm just excited that I found somebody who was motivated enough to make 2 videos per week. I think I did a total of 7 overall. So like you said, like, I think I did
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've done 8, but I think one of them was not in. So yeah, about 7. So we've kind of done about the same. I did have a holiday in between as well. So
yeah, the first week of June, I had 1 more, and I think that came out late. But also I noticed I would go off topic. I'm like, well, let me talk about microphones for this one video because I got like a new lavalier mic. But the rest were like, I don't necessarily have to call it a vlog. Because sometimes I'm not sitting there talking, I'm doing a voiceover. But anyway, I don't know. It's just,
I need to learn from you next what you could do video next. StreamYard. I haven't used that yet. So if you could do a video on how to use StreamYard, because that's what you're using, isn't it, for this?
Yeah. It's very easy
on that next, because I'm sure there's loads of other people thinking about that. Because I've kind of just got into doing lives on my Facebook group, which is the Criminology Circle. So yeah, StreamYard is something I know nothing about.
So, oh, good. Well, then, first of all, tell everybody what I put your email down here and then your Instagram, but what about the name of your channel? Isn't it Edward's Tutoring?
So Edward's Tutoring on YouTube. So like I said, I share things for psychology and criminology students and for people who want to get into being a probation officer. So whether you're in the US or the UK, it's all the same skills that are relevant. And then where else am I? So yeah, the Criminology Circle is my new Facebook group. It's like a support group for criminology, psychology students who want to go into that world of psychology, criminology jobs. And it's also for people who want a career change as well, because I've met quite a few of my students are changing from like corporate roles to more psychology and criminology roles. I'm also on TikTok, so psychology tutor on TikTok. Yeah, I branched out into TikTok a couple of months ago, and it's done really well actually. And again, it's a little bit different. It's more probation, prison stuff, because people are just really like keen to hear. They're really interested in prison and probation stuff. So my TikTok is more catered towards that. And then I think that's it. I'm on LinkedIn for more professional stuff. I do offer workshops and talks to colleges, schools and universities, and I did do one online in Montreal the other day.
Wow.
So if there's any schools in the States or of your homeschool community and just want to learn a little bit more about the field, then I do offer like professional workshops and stuff. And my website is edwardstutoring.co.uk, where I have a blog there. And yeah, I think that's all my...
How does she get it all done, ladies and gentlemen? How does she do it?
Honestly, don't know.
Like when you work from home, you could always be working, you know, like you're comfortable in your own house, but the computer's always there. You're like, well, let me check this. Sometimes it's hard to turn it off.
It is hard. I think after this, I'm going to go in the garden, have a rest, and then I've got some tuition sessions this afternoon. So how about your day? What's your day?
So I've got a couple new siblings coming in, new online students, and then it's like I gotta see, like, have I sent out invoices? Have I want to go ahead and plan for lessons for the week. So since I've been up early or kind of early, and I'm gonna work on the lesson planning. Usually takes about, when you're lesson planning and you're editing videos, that pretty much is like could be my whole week, you know. So if I get it done, I'm always so happy. Sometimes I'll work ahead and then I'll look and I'm like, oh, I already did some of this. I forgot that I did that. Which
That's such a good feeling. That is good feeling.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for meeting with me today. Any last words before we sign off? And when I end broadcast, it'll end. It will do like an extra bye just because.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, just really great to meet up with you. Definitely need to do more of these in the future because yeah, it's been great.
Guys, subscribe to our YouTube channels. So I've got, mine is called JPEZ Talks actually, but my business is JPEZ Tutoring. We've got Sarah Edwards Tutoring here. Well, what is the official name of your business?
It is Edwards Tutoring.
Okay, it is Edwards Tutoring.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
Good. All right. So thanks guys for joining. If you want to do a video challenge, we should probably do another in a couple months.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. When you've got your next course coming out, we'll do a video challenge to coincide with that, I think.
That's exactly what I need to do. Because getting people to get out of their shells, one thing. Then I'm like, just make a video or two, even if they don't post it. I guess that can be the caveat, is like, make one. You don't have to post it, but let us view it.
Yeah.
Privately or something.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna end here. Watch this video, share it with other tutors, other parents, students, all that good stuff, and we'll be back again one day.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.